Okay, let's talk about some common mistakes that I see as students are adding their paper mache onto here. I definitely see a lot of kids that won't add enough of the paper mache liquid, and they will just add the paper towel on there and they'll just stick it on like this, and then they just hope for the best. So this is not going to create that pumpkin form, right? It's gonna dry just like this, and it doesn't magically just turn into the pumpkin form without you taking the time and effort to sculpt it onto the pumpkin itself. So you have to make sure that you do saturate the whole piece of paper towel, and then you place it on there, and you can't just set it on there like that either. You do have to take the time to make sure it's positioned in a way. I like to go along with the segments of the pumpkin. You have to make sure it's positioned on there. You have to go over the edges and make sure that they are pressed down, and then even press into the divot in between the segments if you have one right there, and make sure that you don't see the separate pieces of paper towel, because if you see them when you're adding the pieces on here, once it dries and you come back the next class, you're just gonna see them again. There's not gonna be anything that's different. So it doesn't magically just, get itself created. And so you do have to take that time. And I often have kids come back the next class and they'll say, oh my gosh, why does my pumpkin look like that? Well, it looks like that because that's how you left it the previous class. So you can see here how like this piece right here is kind of sticking up. So if I leave it sticking up like that, it's going to dry like that. And then it will be hard. So you can't fix it the next class. You have to fix it this class. You can't just, stop and leave it that way and then expect it to be different in the following class, okay? And that's something that I see happen all the time. So, if you're understanding what I'm saying and you feel like that's something that you were going to do, not really take the time on this, make sure that you don't do that. Or your pumpkin looks like however you make it look. If you want to sculpt it and make it look really awesome and realistic, it's going to look like that. If you want to, if you don't take the time, that is going to be visible too. So really make sure that you pay attention to all those little edges as you're applying the paper towel, and just take your time as you add it onto there.